For Andy Williams, it was Christmas, but for so many, this is the most wonderful time of the year. Today, the beginning of all the madness. March Madness is here yet again, and today is the first full day of the 2026 NCAA tournament. And today, we bring you 4 games from the pod in Greenville, South Carolina, starting with an 8-9 matchup in the East region. The Ohio State Buckeyes out of the Big Ten taking on a Big 12 representative, the Horned Frogs from Texas Christian University. That's the first tip-off of the day coming up in less than 10 minutes, but it is, of course, an enormous, full, wall-to-wall day of action to begin the big dance, to begin the tournament that we all love so very much, and to begin the real madness of March. And hello, one and all. I am Matthew Owens. Welcome to March Madness. Thanks for having us in for one of the best days on the entire sporting calendar. We are so excited for this tournament for the next 3 weeks, and my goodness, are we jazzed up and ready to go, particularly for these next 4 days. If you are a March Madness veteran, you know these 4 days are among the best 4 days on the sporting calendar. 16 games today, basically from noon to midnight. Ditto for tomorrow. Then we're going basically noon to midnight again, Saturday and Sunday, with 8 games each day. The games are going to come thick and fast, and today on this channel, you will have us for a watch-along of all 4 games from the Greenville pod. Ohio State and TCU will start us off, followed by Duke and Siena. That's the 8-9 and 1-16 matchups in the East region. Then we'll break for some dinner, and then we'll come back for the night session games. Illinois taking on Penn, but before that, North Carolina battles with Virginia Commonwealth. We'll have those 4 games, live coverage, and the watch-along coverage of those 4. We will also be bringing you score updates throughout of the other 12 games while we are on the air. And Seth Eaves joins us for that. JT will be along in just a moment. We've got the full gang. This is our version of the college basketball super booth. Maybe Matt White will join us one day for this sport. But Seth Eaves is with us now, and Seth, I mean, this is very important business. We've been building up for the last 4 months to this point, so it's extremely important business. And we will be talking about the important business throughout the day, but as we're about 7 minutes away from our first tip-off of the day, we cannot go without saying how much fun this day is. This, for so many, is a national holiday.
I know you have the Indianapolis 500 as your number one holy day of sports. There are so many great ones. This is the one for me, though. I was just telling you this before we got off the air, before we got on air. This is it for me. The anticipation, 12 o'clock on a Thursday. It's a very, very special day for me because a lot of people that love March Madness, they're kind of back and forth on college basketball. But for people like us, we've been there since night one. We were doing games in November, and now it's a culmination of all that hard work. And it's going to be a fun day and an exciting day. And I don't want to, when I say this, please don't put me in the same sentence as these two. I'm just saying this is my role for the day. Just call me Pat O'Gumble, if you will, or Greg O'Brien, whichever one you think fits better. In honor of those 2 great studio hosts from back in the day. As Matt mentioned, 4 games in the early window, 12:15 TCU Ohio State, our first game. The second game starts at 12:40 Eastern. The first game of the day in Oklahoma City. Nebraska and Troy, a pair of teams looking for their first tournament wins. The Trojans out of the Sun Belt, the Huskers out of the Big Ten. That'll be the second game. The first game in Buffalo tips off at 1:30. A trendy upset pick for some. South Florida with the much sought-after head coach Brian Hodgson, champions of the American Conference, taking on Louisville, the number 6 seed, who will be without Michael Brown. And then at 150, Big South champion High Point looks to become just the second Big South school to ever win a game in the round of 64. But a tough task awaits. They'll take on Wisconsin in their outstanding backcourt of Blackwell and Boyd, Wisconsin's own Killer Bees. That's the first wave of games. The second wave of games, Siena Duke. Also in that second wave, McNeese Vanderbilt, North Dakota State, Michigan State, and Hawaii against Darius Acuff and Arkansas. It's going to be one heck of a day. But Matthew Owens has the best seat in the house, and now so do you. So Big Mo, Frogs and Buckeyes. Floor's yours, my friend.
Well, this is the 8-9 matchup in the East, and it is two power conference teams going up against each other in this 8-9 matchup. That does tend to happen at times, and I think we're going to get a very interesting game today at the very least to start the action in Greenville. And these days we've talked about the special nature of this day and tomorrow as well with the 16 games wall to wall. But when you start breaking down the games themselves, this one very difficult to get a read on. Of course, many 8-9s are. They are supposed to be the games that are the tightest and a coin flip kind of game. But Seth, when you talk about Ohio State and TCU this year, power conference teams that were tested a lot, Buckeyes in the very deep Big Ten, Horned Frogs in the very deep Big 12. They were tested a lot. They played a lot of tight games. For a long time, it didn't look like they were going to win enough games to get into the tournament, but eventually they, of course, did, and did so fairly safely. What do we think we're going to get in this first game today?
Should be this just screams your classic 8-9 game, like you said, doesn't it? I mean, it's really good. Of course, Jamie Dixon's struggles in the tournament have been well documented by some, but yeah, you've mentioned you said the term. Both these teams just battle tested, and I'll tell you what, I cannot remember the last time we've gone into an NCAA tournament. I can't ever remember in my years of watching this a 9 seed that has the impressive collection of wins that TCU has this year. They have captured some big scalps this season. Have the Horned Frogs. They beat Texas Tech in conference. They beat Iowa State. They beat Florida in the non-conference. They beat Wisconsin. They only lost by 4 to Michigan. I mean, this is a good team, and Ohio State, Bruce Thornton can take over a game. So, yeah, this is going to be one heck of a contest, I do believe.
Yeah, we certainly hope so. Now, this is the 8-9 matchup in the East region. So the winner will move on to play the winner of the second game of the day here. That's Duke and Siena in the 116. And you mentioned Bruce Thornton, the all-time leading scorer in Ohio State program history. Top 5 in the Big Ten in scoring this year at 20 points per game. And he is what makes the Buckeyes go. And as far as that goes, Seth, he along with the starting 5 is what makes the Buckeyes go. This is not a deep team. That's been really the biggest struggle of the year for this Ohio State team, is that their starting 5 is extremely productive, but they don't have much after that, do they?
They really don't. They really don't. And so if Ohio State gets into foul trouble, that could be a big problem. And I'm sure Jamie Dixon is well aware of that. Pretty good crowd on hand in Greenville, I must say, for 12-14 on a Thursday. A lot of people took their PTO, I presume.
Yeah, no doubt. So, full day of action set to get started. You went through those first wave of games, the first 4 games of the day. And again, 4 different sites will have 4 games throughout the entire day. Ohio State went 21-12 this season, 12-8 in the Big Ten. That ranked them just 8th in the Big Ten Conference, a loaded conference. And as we said, Bruce Thornton, top 5 in the Big Ten in scoring at over 20 points per game. And he is a spectacular talent for this Buckeye team. But as we said, depth is an issue for this squad. They average just 11 bench points per game. That ranked 354th in all of college basketball. TCU 22-11. They were 11-7 in the stacked Big 12. That put them 6th in the conference. But they have come into the tournament playing their best ball of the season. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. They did lose in the quarterfinals of the Big 12 tournament to Kansas by 5. This is a team that has 4 players that average double-figure scoring, led by David Punch at 14 points per game. Punch in the lineup along with Brock Harding, Jaden Pierre, Micah Robinson, and Xavier Edmonds. For Jamie Dixon's Horned Frogs, John Mobley, Bruce Thornton, Devin Royal, Amari Bynum, and Christoph Tilley, the 7-footer from Germany, makes the starting lineup for Ohio State. They're coached by Jake Diebler, just 39 years of age, in his second full season as the head coach of the Buckeyes. He was hired late in the 2023-24 campaign. Bynum and Punch will jump center. And we're ready for a full day of basketball. The madness begins with the Buckeyes and the Horned Frogs in Greenville. We are underway with Ohio State controlling the opening tip. They are in their home whites with the scarlet numbers and silver trim because they are the higher seed, and they start with a 3 out of the right corner that misfires from Bynum. Weak side offensive rebound taken by Tilley, and a reset of the possession. Tilley in the lane, spins it outside. Thornton spots up with a 3 and knocks it down. And that's the way this one gets started, with a Bruce Thornton triple. He shoots 40% from three-point range. TCU on the ball for the first time. They wear black uniforms, white numbers, and purple trim, and they got it into the lane. Xavier Edmonds with a push shot that slides off the rim. The rebound down to the Buckeyes, and here comes Ohio State once again. Haven't been to the tournament since 2022. Thornton on the ball up high, swings it right. Mobley puts it on the deck, gives it up high for Tilley. Tilley dribbles along the arc to his right, steps to the elbow and hands it off for Thornton. Swung back into the right corner. Bynum with a late shot clock down to 5, puts it into the corner. Royal rises up for 3, misses off the side of the rim. Rebound down to TCU, and up come the Frogs. Micah Robinson spits it outside. Here's Brock Harding, twisting in from the right, leans in and hits a floater high off the glass with the right hand. Gets TCU on the board with their first 2. Here's Ohio State again. Thornton out of Fairburn, Georgia. Dribbles to his left along the arc. Gives it to Tilley at the foul line. Backdoor feed and going to the rim strong. Bynum misses the dunk but drew a foul. And Bynum will be going to the line as he tried to rip down the rim. And off to the foul line he will go. For Ohio State, their first trip to the NCAA tournament since 2022. Bynum, a freshman out of Omaha. First free throw is good. Averaged just under 10 points and 5 rebounds a game for the Buckeyes this season. Second foul shot goes down as well. 5-2, the lead for Ohio State. Again, from that loaded Big Ten conference, these two teams played in meat grinders of conferences, and they both had many chances to get big wins. Seth mentioned TCU did get quite a bit on the season. Jaden Pierre off the right wing. Bounces it to Edmonds at the top of the circle. He feeds it back on the wing, and Harding's free to fire, and he splashes down TCU's first three-pointer. And we're even at 5 just across the first 2 minutes. John Mobley Jr. out of Reynoldsburg, Ohio. Left-handed dribble, bounce pass, top of the circle. Tilly catches, spins his way into the lane. 7-footer from Germany, maneuvers in, rose up for a hook shot. Punch took it away, and TCU brings it back with Harding, who gives it to Punch, who cuts right down the middle and is able to draw a foul on his way to the rim. David Punch out of Harker Heights, Texas, best player on this TCU roster. 14 points, 7 rebounds per game. He can really get rolling and is very tough to stop when he gets going downhill, as he just did there. He'll head to the line, where he does struggle at times, 65% on the season. First free throw is off the rim and misses. Jamie Dixon is the head coach for TCU in his 10th season with the Horned Frogs, taking them to the NCAA tournament for the 5th time in those 10 years. Dixon, of course, many tournament appearances in past jobs. Second free throw is good, giving TCU their first lead. Of course, Dixon, many tournament appearances as high seeds in his 13 years at Pittsburgh. This is his 16th trip to March Madness as a head coach. John Mobley Jr. for Ohio State, outside right, centers for Bynum, who gives it up on the wing. Royal carves out a lane, gets into the paint. Fadeaway jumper blocked by Punch. He averages 2 blocks per game, takes that one away, and TCU's got it again. Pierre out of a right-handed dribble out of Elizabeth, New Jersey. Angles to his right, gets to the baseline, spins it outside. Harding's free to fire again for 3. This one off the back of the rim. Offensive rebound down to Edmonds. Puts it back to the perimeter. Pierre, jab step, straight on 3. And that clatters off the cup, no good. And the rebound chased down off the floor by Bynum. And here comes Ohio State again. Thornton sets the offense. He's had it knocked out of his hands just in front of the TCU bench. It will stay with Ohio State. And the Buckeyes will inbound far side front court as Pierre will go to the bench to get a breather here for TCU. That will bring in Tanner Toulson into the game. Inbound off right wing, Royal puts it back out for Mobley on the March Madness logo, directs it to his left, and Thornton picked up his dribble foot and picked up his pivot foot and ended up walking with it. So it's a turnover by the Buckeyes. They don't commit many, 10 a game, but TCU really does excel at forcing turnovers. They force 14 per game. Harding will bring it up for the Horned Frogs. Feeds it into the right corner. Latauris Lelavicius just into the game. Entry feed off the right block. Edmonds rose up and had it blocked by Bynum, who comes up with the loose ball, and Ohio State's got it again. Bynum spinning on the perimeter, dribbles his way to the left elbow, draws a double, bounces it back outside, and losing the handle to it was Ivan Yagovin just in, and it's out of bounds to TCU as they force another turnover. It was Lelavicius that was able to knife it out of the grasp of Yagovin, the sophomore from Croatia, who does come in off the bench quite often. He averages 12 minutes a game off the bench for Ohio State. So, 2 turnovers in a row for the Buckeyes, and Brock Harding brings it up in a walking stance into the front court, cuts to his right, takes a screen, stops on the elbow, bounces it into the lane. Edmonds leans in, and with the left hand floats it up and home. Xavier Edmonds out of Long Beach, California with the basket, bringing TCU's lead to 8-5. Thornton at the other end, off left wing, fakes a 3, gives it up top. Mobley will do more than fake it. He'll launch it from straight on, and it misses. Rebound down to Harding in transition, pushing it for Edmonds to the rim, flips it up left-handed, no. Back tap by Mobley, secured by Thornton. Into the front court he comes. Thornton lowers his shoulder and goes right into the chest of Harding, who gets knocked over, and the foul is called. And it's against Harding, which will lead to our first media timeout of the game in Greenville, where TCU leads at 8-5. As we're underway, 8-9 matchup in the East. Off to a good start. Should be a physical game today between Ohio State and TCU. Now, normally at timeouts, we'll be going to Seth so he can give us score updates from around the country, but as we know, next game does not start for another 15 minutes. So, Instead, I'll go to Seth and ask you, sir, expectations for the day. What's catching your eye the most on day one here?
Well, obviously, I feel like I'm obliged to say it's the Greenville pod, being that that's the games that we're doing. But I gotta tell you, I have gotta tell you, I've got my eyes on Portland. Yeah, that's where it is, Portland. And those two early games in Portland, and in particular, all due respect to High Point and Hawaii, who are good teams, all about those guards, the Killer Bees of Wisconsin, and then Mr. A. Cuff of Arkansas. Very much looking forward to that. Also, South Florida, a lot of people think they can win this game against Louisville. No, Michael Brown is certainly going to help that cause. I think those games kind of strike me as the ones to watch.
Well, we'll see what we get today. Like you said, first four has gone on the last 2 days. If you think about it in an Olympic way, Seth, you have the opening ceremonies of the Olympics, but you do have action going on before that. It's called day -2 and -1. That's what the first four is. And this is the opening day of the tournament.
Way to describe it. Perfect way to describe it.
As we said, JT will be hopping in a little bit later. And we can't wait
Hey, Brutus!
We can't wait for him to jump in here. Brutus is here, of course. Why wouldn't he be?
He's going to photobomb Tracy Wolfson and tell her how much she sucks because she went to Michigan. But anyway, now the question is he going to mark out? Is he going to find something to mark out all the M's in March Madness the way he did the M in Michigan during this past football season?
Right.
Look what Brutus did! Gus Johnson, fantastic. I gotta step aside. I'll be back in a few seconds. I'll mute myself anyway while you do your thing, like the goat that you are, and call this game.
Yeah, you know it. Ohio State, of course, coached, as I mentioned, by young Jake Diebler, who, of course, finished up his college basketball playing career only about 17 years ago at Valparaiso. He played there from 2005 to 2009. And as I mentioned earlier, he was hired as the Ohio State coach late in the 23-24 season. This is his second full season as the bench boss of the Buckeyes. They will inbound here to restart play. Thornton gets it in, looping pass taken by Royal at the top of the circle, puts down a dribble, comes left elbow, takes a mid-range jumper that misses, punches away with the rebound, and he gets it ahead in transition for Pierre. Buckeyes have missed 6 of their first 7 from the field. Pierre on a handoff. It was denied and knocked out of bounds by Tayson Chapman, the sophomore from Minneapolis, just into the game for Ohio State. Possession will stay with TCU, shot clock at 20. Toulson trying to get the ball in. He does. Into the backcourt. Run down there by Pierre. Providence transfer. Last 3 seasons he spent with the Friars program. Bounce pass to Punch. Top of the circle. Steps inside the arc. Handoff Toulson. Curls in from the left. Back for Punch he goes. He gets a running start. Spins inside. And with a soft touch with the right hand, Punch lays it in. And it's a 10-5. TCU lead. Here's Thornton again for Ohio State. He handles the ball a lot. Line drive pass to the foul line taken by Tilley. Puts it on the deck. Drives at Punch. In from the right. Gets to the rim. Muscles it up. Glass and rim miss. And the rebound taken off the floor by Robinson. 1 and out go the Buckeyes, who have now missed 7 of 8 from the field. Here's Pierre flipping it into the right corner. Toulson centered it back for Micah Robinson. Robinson along off the left wing. Lelavicius gives it up. Baseline drive, Pierre. Kicks it back out. Toulson in the lane. Skips it to Punch. He gets to the rim. Missed an easy one. It's recovered by Toulson. He puts it up on the rim. That slides off. Another offensive rebound, and Lelavicius missed the 3rd opportunity. And finally, it was Tilley who cleared away the rebound for OSU. A lot of chances right at the rim there, and neither would go down for Texas Christian University. And here's Thornton again. Toulson picks him up defensively. Thornton directs it off the left wing. Tilley feeds the left corner. Baseline drive. John Mobley Jr. Float game is strong as He makes the first basket from the field for a long time for Ohio State. Mobley's at nearly 16 points per game for this Ohio State team. Second on the roster behind Thornton. Pierre left-handed dribble. Able to swing it to the left. Toulson off the wing. Takes it to the elbow. Punch on a return. Pierre, pull-up jumper off the left lane line. Comes up short. Tilly clears away the rebound. And up with it is Thornton again. Thornton crosses the timing line into the front court. Buckeyes attacking to the left side of the floor here in this first half. Chapman flips a pass, top of the circle. Tilly takes it. He's a good passer for a big man. Swings it right. Chapman drives the baseline, gets through traffic, skips it up on the rim, and it hit both sides of the orange rim. And the rebound pulled away by Micah Robinson of TCU. Shot to Lelavicius. He cuts inside, and with the left hand, Latauras Lelavicius lays it in. The junior from Lithuania, who transferred in from Oregon State, gets to the basket and puts it home. A 12-7 lead for TCU. Mobley at the other end for Ohio State. Feeds it right. On the arc, Chapman. Back up top, Mobley. Jab step at the defense of Toulson. Right-handed dribble. Bounces it for Thornton. Thornton slices inside. With the right hand, floats it up and in. And Bruce Thornton scores. 12-9, the lead for TCU. They're back quickly, though, and they get an open look at a left corner three. Misfires for Toulson. Weak side offensive rebound, Punch. And Punch bounces it back out for Pierre. Reset. Lelavicius feeds the corner pocket. Robinson steps inside the arc. Backs it on Chapman. Gets to the rim and floats it up and in. And there's been some soft floaters go down early here for TCU. That one by Micah Robinson at just over 10 points per game on the season for the sophomore from Kansas City. Here's Ohio State. They've hit a couple of baskets in a row, but they've missed 9 of 12 to start. Thornton outside left. Gets a screen from Royal. Right-handed hip-high dribble. Now Tilly screens up high. Thornton dribbles right. Puts it inside. Tilly, tough catch. A double around him, and he shoots out of the double with the left hand. Got it up and over Lelavicius and scores. So after missing 8 of their first 9 from the field, Ohio State has made 3 in a row. Pierre for TCU. Off to Lelavicius. They play catch on the perimeter. Bat for Pierre. Bounce to Punch. Takes it at the foul line. Punch works his way in on Tilly. Spins left. Fadeaway jumper off the heel. Then off the front. No good. Rebound down to Royal. And the Buckeyes on offense again. Royal top of the key. Feeds it right. Tilly has it. Now Royal cutting in. And Tilly gets it to him on the roll. And he lays it in off the window. Good action there on a high-low pass. Big to small. As Royal gets the basket, Tilly the assist, and a timeout is taken by TCU. And that will lead to a timeout on our end with 10:57 to go here in this first half. Early lead for TCU, struggling start for Ohio State, but they've made 4 in a row. Again, the winner of this game to play the winner of the 116 matchup. That's the next game on this floor between Duke and Siena. And one would think that it would be the Blue Devils. That will be the matchup for the winner of this game. Siena, of course, will try to pull off just the third 16-1 upset. Again, that's the next game on this floor, scheduled at tip time for 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time.
Hold us to that.
Yeah, right. Yes, you know when it comes tournament time, never go strictly by the scheduled tip times. They try their best. Of course, there's been a lot of talk since Sunday evening about Duke being the number 1 seed in this region. They're the number 1 overall seed for the tournament, but they definitely got a very difficult region, starting with, if they do beat Siena today, starting with their second round game. You never want to say that you'd rather play this team or you'd rather this draw, because that's normally when things start to get you in trouble. When you say you'd rather play this team versus another team. But if you look at the bracket and you look at the number 1 overall seed itself, getting TCU, Ohio State, 2 power conference teams as their 8-9, And then you look out west. If you would have asked Arizona fans, and they were truthful with you, would you have rathered your 8-9 be Villanova, Utah State, or would you have rathered your 8-9 be Ohio State, TCU? And I think Arizona fans would have rathered Villanova, Utah State, which is what they got. But these 8-9, the winners of the 8-9 games, what makes them so dangerous when they play the 1 seeds in the second round, if indeed the 1 doesn't get beaten by the 16, most of the time these 8-9 teams are really good teams that just haven't lived up to their potential through so much of the season. I think a lot of that can be said about Georgia and St. Louis, which is the 8-9 in Michigan's bracket in the Midwest. Clemson and Iowa, you can say that about the 8-9 in the South as well. So all the 1 seeds beware that 8-9.
St. Louis, of course, a team that started so great and has kind of limped into this tournament.
Right. TCU back on offense as play restarts after that Jamie Dixon timeout. 4 of 5, Ohio State's hit from the field. Down the lane, punch gets to the rim and lays it up, and it rattled out somehow. Offensive rebound was taken by Edmonds, and then he gets swarmed. 4 Buckeyes around him. It's a held ball, and the possession arrow will keep it with TCU. Edmonds did a great job getting that rebound, just couldn't find any room to kick it back outside because he did have 4 defenders around him. That last timeout was a TCU timeout, so this whistle is the under-12 media, which sends us right back into a break. We love when that happens.
I'm not going to say the line, but I can tell you we are 3 minutes away from tip-off in Oklahoma City, Troy and Nebraska. It's a rarity. As we mentioned earlier, it's a battle of 2 teams searching for their first ever NCAA tournament win. That doesn't really raise your eyebrow from a Troy perspective as much, perhaps, but it's safe to say it probably does from a Nebraska point of view, the sense that they've are a quote-unquote power conference program, the only current power conference program that's yet to win a game in the NCAA tournament. They've had a magical year. Is it going to continue with that historic win, or do the Trojans have a trick up their sleeve? I tell you, Scott Cross, you want to talk about one of the more underrated coaches in these United States? That man right there, he can do it.
Yeah. Pierre Moss has joined us in the comments section. Let the madness begin, and he says those 8-9 matchups are...
Gotta be a bittersweet day for him after the Hallie Rose news.
Yeah, for sure. Says those 8-9 matchups are always so good. Yeah, I mean, those are on paper supposed to be the coin flippiest of the first round games, as I've made up a term.
We're making words already. Yeah. I love it.
But, just to go on about this East region, we got sidetracked just talking about the 8-9s of it all. Number 1 overall seed Duke getting 2 power conference teams as their 8-9, and then, as you know, through all the conversation that's been had this week, they've got UConn as their 2. That team's won 2 of the last 3 national championships. 3 seed down there, Duke's pretty used to playing them in March. That's Michigan State, who's pretty darn good. Of course, Tom Izzo, the coach that everyone talks about his March attributes. And then you also think about the 4 and 5 seeds in this region that Duke could have to play in the Sweet 16. Either Darren Peterson in Kansas, it's been talk about a team that hasn't lived up to expectations, but boy, they're still really good, particularly Peterson, who can drop 25, 30 plus points at any given time. Or the 5 seed St. John's, Big East champions, who laid it on UConn in that Big East final on Saturday. So this East region is loaded, as the talk
Big
has
East
been.
Is 3 teams, and 2 of them are in the same region. Make sense.
Now that's something that, 3 teams from one conference make the tournament, and you put 2 of the 3 in the same region. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
The West Coast Conference got 3 teams, and they're all in different regions.
Yeah, that's just the so-called bracketing principles there not being used by this committee. Also in the East, you got Louisville and South Florida. A lot of people, that game's today. That's coming up in less than an hour. A lot of people looking at that as a possible 11/6 upset. South Florida's good. They'll take a lot of threes. If they're hitting them, they can absolutely beat a Louisville team that may or may not be without Michael Brown today. That's been a bit confusing to follow over the last 24 hours as TCU inbounds to restart play. Left baseline drive by Pierre, who drives in, then kicks out to the right corner. Open look at a three for Brock Harding would not go. And the rebound down to Ohio State. They immediately get it into the hands of their big man Thornton, who then hands it off on the perimeter. Gabe Cupps is just into the game for Jake Diebler, sophomore from Dayton. Tried to feed the top of the key for Bynum. Pass was deflected. Instead, it was taken by Brandon Noel. Now it's back to Bynum, who rolls his way in from the left, cuts it back to Thornton. Now to Bynum. Late shot clock at 4. Top of the arc, Cupps launches a three. Pierre blocks it, and it's a 3-on-1 as Punch picks up the ball, but Punch's outlet was too far out in front of Brock Harding, and it's out of bounds, and a sloppy TCU turnover there after getting an empty trip from Ohio State. Mentioned TCU forces a lot of turnovers, 14 a game. They turn it over themselves 11 times per contest on average. Brandon Noel for Ohio State outside left. Turns, hands off, Thornton. He is squared up defensively by Lelavicius. Back to the top of the circle. Noel dribbles to his right, hands it off. They blitz Cupps with a double. Has it knocked out of his hands. He recovers in the backcourt. Shot clock at 6, now 5. In the right corner, Bynum lines up a three around the rim and out. Punch had the rebound, but we get a whistle and a foul going against TCU as Punch collided with Noel. Third team foul going against the Horned Frogs there, and that's one that they cannot afford to get into any foul trouble is Punch, and he does pick up his second. So off to the bench, Punch will go. 9.5 to go in the half, and boy, that's going to be a situation that Jamie Dixon's going to have to be very careful with the rest of this half and moving forward. Inbound right baseline. Thornton through traffic. Wheel around shot from the right lane line. Misses off the heel. Rebound down to TCU, and up come the Frogs again. Robinson has it outside right. Loops a pass in. Edmonds catches right of the lane. Quick double. Now they fade out of it. And Robinson whips a bounce pass into the left corner. Taken by Micah Robinson, who launches up a three and knocks it down. Robinson from the corner pocket with a three-point hit. And it's a 17-13 lead for TCU, as you can see. Mobley at the other end. Worked his way inside. Bounce pass couldn't be collected cleanly by Tilley, and it's off Tilley and out of bounds. Another Ohio State turnover. Buckeyes come into this tournament having won 5 of their last 8 games. They won their second-round game against Iowa in the Big Ten tournament in Chicago last week, lost in the quarterfinal round to top-seeded Michigan by 4, the tightest game that those two had played this year, but Ohio State lost all 3 to the Wolverines. Left corner, Edmonds launches a 3, and he swishes it down. Xavier Edmonds hits the long shot, and he can shoot it from out there. 41% from three-point range on the season. TCU with a 7-point lead. Ohio State with it again. Mobley up top, blitzed with a double, lofted it to the top of the circle. Tilley a catch, knifed it to the right corner. Thornton drives in, gives it up. Bynum got doubled on the baseline, and he has it knocked out of bounds, and he was the one that touched it last. It's another Buckeye turnover, and they've been doing that a lot in these first 11 minutes and change. They came with a double hard on the baseline with Harding and Robinson and forced another turnover, and here comes TCU from our left to our right. Black uniforms, white numbers, purple trim. Here's Harding flashing to the basket from the left, drew a crowd, tried to kick it back outside on a drop, but Royal stole it. In transition, Mobley at full pace to the rim, banks it up, no, tap, follow, goes around the rim a couple of times and goes down. First basket in a while again for Ohio State. Rebounding, of course, always such a huge story in these tournament games. Will be in this one, too, between two teams that don't particularly rebound all that great. Toulson out of the right corner. Centered at top of the arc. Edmonds leaves it there. Robinson picks it up. Hits the spin button off the left elbow. Flashes it back outside. Harding throws up a three. Swirling miss. Offensive rebound Toulson. Works his way in deep. Fed the right corner. Edmonds back for Harding. Accelerates to the foul line. Drops it off to a trailing Lilavicius. Gave it up on the right wing. Edmonds rises up. And he rips the cords from downtown. Edmonds hits another three. His second of this first half. 8-point lead for TCU. Thornton and Ohio State trying to slow things down. Thornton gets it into the left corner. Mobley collects, puts up a three of his own, and pours it in. So John Mobley knocks down the three. He's a 42% three-point shooter. That led the Big Ten, and he was third in the Big Ten in three-point shots made per game at just over three a contest. 6-point margin. Here's Robinson stepping up the right baseline. Gets underneath. Banks it up. Wouldn't fall from a sharp angle. Tilley did a good job keeping his balance and getting the rebound. Outlet it on for Mobley. Left of the March Madness logo. Crosses midcourt with under 6.5 to go in the first half. Mobley drifts to his right. Harding defends. Screen comes Tilley. They double Mobley with the ball, gives it to Tilley, spins in, kicks it to the short corner on the far side. Bynum trying to get around Edmonds. They double him, and Bynum goes down, and a foul is called. And it's going against TCU. Fourth team foul going against Jamie Dixon's team. Well, a 6-point game as they've counted that last shot from Ohio State as a two-pointer. So it's 23-17. Underway in Greenville. And not only are we underway in Greenville now, Seth, but we are also underway with the 4-13 matchup in the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. This is the 4-13 in the South. That's Nebraska, who's never won an NCAA tournament game, as we know, taking on Troy.
Yep, they're at about the 16-minute mark of the first half. Here's a pass inside and a two-hand flush for the Cornhuskers. That cuts it to 3. Should have had a full set of rosters just like you. See, you're more prepared than I am. That means you're better than me by a long shot. Anyway, it is Troy with a 9-6 lead on Nebraska. Again, early days in that one. As the Sun Belt clashes with the Big Ten in that encounter. And Nebraska, as you would imagine, they brought a lot of folks with them to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I bet. Let's see. We got Pierre, by the way, saying the Big East got jobbed with the St. John seeding. Well, they certainly didn't get helped out by the Big East being as down as it was this season. That's for sure. But, you know, St. John's also, they didn't have a load of big wins out of conference. I would be, if I was a St. John's fan, I'd be more upset, rather than the seeding, I'd be upset by the region they're in. Because, again, you got UConn down there. So if St. John's, if they beat Northern Iowa, if they beat Kansas, if they beat Duke, or however the matchups end up going, I mean, you could have UConn in the regional final. And there's just no sense in those two being in the same region and possibly playing in a regional final for a fourth time this season. We also have a Siena for the win comment. So we have a Siena supporter. I bet Siena's never had so many supporters as they'll have today.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's so weird. Come 2 o'clock, I will not have you'll see Siena's colors are green and gold, but what you will not realize is that at 2 o'clock, at least for 2 hours, Siena will also have a light shade of blue in their color scheme as well. If you get my drift.
Now they have come back, by the way. They have come back and now confirmed that Ohio State basket was indeed a 3-point shot. So it is 23-18.
Holy indecisiveness back.
They reviewed it during the timeout. Pierre says, that's a true statement. St. John's did have a rough start to non-conference, and they did. But it's an incredibly long season, we know that, and teams do change and get better, or sometimes get worse as the season goes on. As out of the timeout, catch and shoot three out of the right corner, misses from Mobley. Rebound, Lelavicious, long pass ahead in transition. Pierre goes to the rim, and he had it blocked from behind by Bynum, but there's a foul going against Ohio State. I, for one, I am not rooting for anyone in this game, but I, for one, am rooting to be able to say Latauras Lelavicious as many times as I possibly can. Now that sounds like a March Madness name.
I thought you were rooting for 7 overtimes.
First free throw misses for Pierre. Out of Elizabeth, New Jersey. Mentioned he played the last 3 seasons at Providence. One more for Jaden at the line after his first one missed. Second one is down. It's 24-18. Just about 6 minutes to go in this first half. And Thornton will bring the ball up again for Ohio State as he does so often. Left-handed dribble, high screen comes, and now they get it inside and attacking the rim. Royal gets there easily and lays it in. Devin Royal out of Pickerington, Ohio, with the finger roll basket, and Ohio State's within 4. Pierre bringing it up for Texas Christian University. Swings it right, Robinson, back for Pierre. 2 hands a pass, cross floor. This way, Lelavicious takes a screen left of the lane, pulls up with a jumper, and knocks it down in the mid-range. It is Latauras Lelavicious. 26-20, TCU leads, just north of 5 to go in this first half. Ball in the hands of Thornton. Quarterbacks it up the top of the key. Bynum hands it off. Outside left, Mobley. A return for Bynum inside the arc. Pretty spin move in from the left. Up and under, and the layup is there. Beautiful series of moves from Amari Bynum, the freshman from Omaha. TCU with it on offense again. Pierre locates Lelavicious open underneath. He caught it with defenders swarming him, and it's knocked out of his hands. Out of bounds, it'll stay with the Frogs. There's been a lot of really fun names that have that live in March Madness lore, and maybe Latauras Lelavicious will, if he goes off for some big games in this tournament. Ian Eagle is calling this game on CBS. I know Ian always loved the name Pit Snoggle from years gone by.
Didn't we all?
Pierre inbounds it. Right baseline, but Edmonds hands it right back off to Pierre. We're inside the final 5 minutes. Off to Toulson, who's back in. Then to Lelavicious out of the left corner. Finds Edmonds. Locates it. Top of the key. Robinson steps in. Foul line jumper rattles in for Micah Robinson. TCU with a productive first half on offense. 28-22 lead. 4.5 to go in this first half. Thornton into the front court, bouncing along on the March Madness logo at midcourt, swings it right. Mobley has it. They double him. They double a lot. He throws out of it to Thornton, who is able to motor his way inside. Running floater grazes the front of the rim. Robinson with the defensive rebound. Gallops ahead into the front court, stops in the elbow, spins back towards the perimeter, then bounces it inside. Edmonds tried to go up on Tilley, who covered him up defensively, so he backpedals back to the outside. Edmonds hands off right corner Toulson, directed back into the middle of the floor. Lelavicious works his way inside, flipped it up wildly off the glass, no good. On the floor went a couple of Buckeyes, securing the rebound, but went Royal. Outletted along for Mobley. Mobley slashes right. Entry feed Tilley. Spins away from the defense of Pierre and finger rolls it in, and Ohio State's within 4. TCU's led the majority of the way in this first half, but it's been played in a phone booth for the majority of it. 3.5 to go in the half. 4-point game. Tilley stuffing the stat sheet with 4 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. Edmonds directs a bounce pass that nearly got away from Toulson on the right baseline. Back out to Edmonds. Shot clock to single figures. Edmonds floats it off left arc. Micah Robinson has it. Makes a good move to get by Mobley. Open look at a 3, and he cans it. That was a tremendous series of moves and fancy footwork from Robinson to work himself free, and he knocks down the 3. He's into double-figure scoring in this first half. 7-point TCU lead. Thornton Bounce pass from right to left. Met on the wing. Tilley. Return for Thornton. Lelavicius defends. Thornton gets doubled. Gives it up. Tilley sweeps it into the short corner. Another double comes at Royal, who kicks it to the left corner. Bynum works it inside. Thornton back out. Tilley from straight away. He's open for three. Misses off the back of the rim. Long rebound tapped into the arms of Tanner Toulson for TCU. Toulson brings it up. Gets it to Lelavicius. Quick spot up three off the right wing. Wouldn't go. Knifed away by Bynum. And Ohio State brings the ball up, and Mobley gets into the front court, and Ohio State takes a timeout. So a timeout on the floor with 2:28 to go in this first half. 7-point game. First half flying right along, and I love Pierre in the comments. Delicious, Lelavicious.
Oh. That's like something Bill Rafter would say, actually. Delicious. Delicious. Man.
Also says he's not too far away from Elizabeth, New Jersey, the home of Jaden Pierre. So you got Pierre Moss.
Are you saying New Jersey? Are you saying New Jersey is Pierre country?
It might be.
Oh, Sanford, release, rotation, splash as Nebraska was back in front 12-10 as we are nearing the 12 and a half minute mark. Troy has gone nearly 4 minutes without a field goal, so
a lot of people a lot of people were looking at Troy as a team that could pull the upset on Nebraska. And, I think I've seen people that are gun-shy to pull the trigger on upsets this year after the lack of upsets last year. But I've also seen a lot of people that's, we won a bunch of upsets this year because we had none last year.
I was going to say, this feature doesn't have a raise hand feature like our old way of communicating, because I would have done that. As you said, we got to some people like Troy, I would have used the hand raise motion. That's just, the lowest I've gone is 2-13s winning. I think Cal Baptist is going to surprise some people and stun Kansas late night tomorrow. Kevin Harlan is going to be on a heater with Mr. Daniels. Just as long as he doesn't do what you were mimicking him doing in one of our chats earlier in the week.
And no more of that.
Flamethrower!
That was strictly for off-the-air conversation.
Yeah. Somebody was very bored.
Oh, goodness gracious. TCU.
Uh-oh, JT's fiddling.
Uh-oh.
He's muted, but he's fiddling.
He's fiddling.
JT's fiddling.
JT will be here shortly. Both teams shooting the ball right around 40%. As we're inside the final 3 minutes of this first half, TCU's hit 5 3-pointers to Ohio State's 2. And that is really the major difference and why TCU has the lead that they do. As we close in on halftime, opening game of the day in Greenville, Duke and Siena. The 116 in this region coming up in this building at a scheduled time of 2:50. Then tonight in this building, VCU and North Carolina. Here's a steal by TCU, Xavier Edmonds. And in transition, he will jackhammer it home with the right hand. He got a steal right off the inbounds pass. And he's able to walk his way to the rim and slam it down. And Edmonds is now in double figures in this first half. Thornton at the other end had it poked away, had to straddle the timing line, but then as he cut to his left, he was hip-checked and fouled by Pierre. Edmonds with a nasty finish as he reared all the way back to the earlobe with the right hand and slammed it down in transition. 1:59 left to play in this first half. 9-point lead TCU. It's the largest lead that they have had, that either team has had. Thornton inbounding near side front court. Gets it in for Tilly. Tilly dribbles to his right. Puts it into the hands of Royal. Lelavicious defends. Royal, right-handed hip-high dribble. Directs it left. Tilly catches just beyond the elbow. Foul line extended. Tries to spin away. Now a double comes. He'll spin away from that. And Tilly works his way inside. Dumps it off underneath. And Royal couldn't catch it cleanly. And it's out of bounds off his hands. Another Ohio State turnover. And that has been a real issue for this team in this first half. That is 6 Buckeye turnovers for a team that only averages 10 a game. Here's TCU into the front court, working from our left to our right. Harding dribbles left-handed across the timing line. Mobley defends, swung left for Pierre. Pierre locked up defensively by Thornton. Back again for Harding, who swings it up top, head of the key. 3 launched, and Micah Robinson knocks it down, and it's the first double-digit lead of the game. Robinson has 3 threes in this first half. He's feeling it, and TCU is up by a dozen. They've hit half a dozen from 3. Ohio State really needs to finish this first half with a flurry. Outside left, giving up Mobley, straight on 3, rattles out, rebound tapped, battled for along by Edmonds and Tilly. It's off Edmonds last, and it'll stay with Ohio State. Just over a minute to go in this first half. Jamie Dixon's team starting to stretch their legs here. Thornton will inbound from underneath. Shot clock has reset itself to 20. Thornton looks to his left, now looks to his right. Feeds it into the left corner. Mobley catches, puts up a 3. He misses. Rebound taken by Robinson for TCU. Ohio State bench wanted a foul. None was given, and we're inside the last minute of the half. Harding into the front court for Texas Christian. Leaves it off the wing. Robinson's been hot in this first half. Dribbles his way inside the arc. Right of the lane. Hits the brakes. Tosses it back outside. Pierre pitches it. Harding feeds it in. It's kicked back out top. Lelavicious, extra pass. Pierre to the wing. 3 is launched, and it's hit again. Harding knocks it down from the outside, and TCU's lead grows to 15. Harding's second 3. TCU's 7th. And the shot clock off for Ohio State as Thornton's into the front court with 20 seconds to go in the first half. Right-handed dribble, hunkered stance, protects it from Pierre, who has him defensively. 11 straight points here for TCU, and they blitz Thornton with a double and nearly lost the dribble. Thornton as he cut in from the right. Now he does lose the ball, free at the top of the circle. He tries to grab it. Royal does, feeds the left corner. Bynum on the baseline, falling down. Got it to Tilly at the rim. He can't hit the shot, and that's the end of the first half, with TCU ending the half on an 11-0 run to build their lead from 4 to 15. It's 39-24 at the first half of the day. 7 3-point hits for TCU in the first half. They were 7 of 13 from beyond the arc. They shot 47% from the field, and TCU owns a commanding halftime lead. So TCU, with the hot start, we know anything can happen in March, but 15-point halftime lead is exactly what they couldn't have asked for any more than that. 2 players in double figures in the first half. Robinson, who hit 3 threes, 3 of 3, in fact, from 3-point range with 13 points in 19 minutes. Edmonds hit 2 threes and scored 10. They lead the way for TCU. Ohio State, all 5 starters scored. But as usual from this Ohio State team, no bench points in that first half from Noel, Nyagovin, Cups, or Chapman, who all played off the bench. Leading Buckeye scorer was Bynum with 6. Halftime in Greenville. First game of the day. We're 1/8 of the way through the day. 39-24, the halftime lead. And
I was told there'd be no math.
Yeah. Let's get to Seth. Keep me updated on the time, Seth. Have we had the third tip-off? No, that's at 1:30, right?
Yeah, 1:30, so we still got a little bit to go. 1:30 is the next tip time. That's South Florida, Louisville, and then 1:50 for High Point, Wisconsin. This has been a bit of a rough one in the first half in Oklahoma City as far as getting a rhythm going. 10:07 to play first half. Troy, the 13 seed of the South, leads the 4th seed Nebraska 15-12. And here on the watch-along that we're paying attention to, it's TCU with a 39-24 lead over Ohio State. I don't believe, again, not a surprise to say TCU's winning, but I don't think anybody that knew anything about this game thought this would be a 15-point game at the half. At TCU, they've come out and they've been firing.
Yes, they have, and hitting some threes will never hurt you. Now, shooting too many might, but hitting threes the way they are, not going to hurt them. 7 of 13 from deep. And, TCU, I feel like one of the themes of this tournament this year, Seth, and I think you can, on many different levels, speak to this. One of the themes of this tournament is I think we are going to get a lot of games, and I think we're going to get actually a lot of games from big teams that people think are going to go on a deep run in this tournament. I think we're going to get games lost tight at the end because of free throw shooting. There's a lot of teams, and as I said, a lot of big-time teams in this tournament that are really good, that are terrible at the free throw line. TCU is one of those. They rank 239th in Division I college basketball in free throw shooting. So if they can stay out of a tight game, that would be best for them. And so far, it doesn't look like it's heading to be a tight game.
So far, but
right,
in March, things have a knack of changing once we get to March. With now I know JT's in the building because I see Serie A highlights during halftime and commercial breaks of college basketball. Serie A and Serie B. But anyway, that's the League of the Sheep, don't you know? Serie B.
Oh yeah,
of
course.
Bah.
And there's JT's first contribution of the day. JT, welcome to the madness, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. Hello. I just had to mute some stuff because I had a beautiful echo in my ears. There we go. I'm good. I got out of college 10 minutes early, hence why I'm with you 10 minutes before I was meant to be. Matthew, I don't know if you saw my message, but I have control of the scoreboard now. All good.
Very, very
and
good.
And a secret new addition to be added in the second half, which none of you know about.
Oh boy!
Oh,
I have been cooking.
Oh.
And I'm going to attempt to work with a red clock.
Oh no! Oh no! No! Surely not. Surely you're not going to try to do the shot clock in the middle of everything else.
JT is again. Emeril Lagasse ain't got bars like this chef. I tell you right now, he can't cook like this chef.
Listen, I'm thrilled that he has control of the scoreboard again because
trust me, that's not easy.
I can do the scoreboard. I just don't love to do the scoreboard.
It's fun to do, but sometimes it can get a little overwhelming when you're trying to do two things at once, is my point of view on it. But it's fun to press the button. I turn into a 6-year-old. Ooh, +3, that's cool. Ooh, goal graphic in soccer. Goal graphic, that's cool. That's cool. That's why I like trying to do. That's why I want to do so many different teams, because I want to see the different goal animations. Touchdown graphic. That's cool. But anyway,
of course, if you've been with us this season, you know that what you're seeing today, we have a different score bug for March Madness.
Yes, very March Madness centric score bug. I did notice that. So look at us go.
We've been cooking.
I hope you enjoyed my addition to the scoreboard of the March Madness logo.
Yes, I do. Yes, that was JT.
Right. Oh, so he put the March Madness logo there.
He did.
Of course he did. Why should I be surprised at this rate?
By the way, Pierre
I was
says
tasked with the. Go on, Matthew.
Yeah, well, Pierre says, "Welcome to March, JT." Everyone's welcoming you to March. Everyone loves the idea of you doing March Madness.
Yes, thank you for welcoming me to March, but you are 19 days late.
See, I knew something like that was coming.
Oh, well, I knew it was coming because I had a conversation with our guy Matt White earlier this morning, and he said the same thing. It's like, Happy March Madness on March 19th.
Yeah.
No, just
Happy March Madness on April 1st, 2nd, 5th, 3rd, 4th, 5th,
well,
and
yeah,
6th.
yeah. You think that's something? Wait until we're wrapping up March Madness on April 6th. Oh, anyway.
Let's move on here. Troy, Nebraska. Let's talk about 21-15. Nebraska on top as they have 8 minutes to play in the first half. Let's talk about some of these games. Let's talk about the rest of these games in the early first wave. South Florida and Louisville, Matthew. That's an interesting one. Of course, the Bulls, a very good year in the American Conference. Brian Hodgson, a lot of schools want him to fill their vacancies. They're going to play Louisville today. Louisville still a slight favorite despite Michael Brown. Now, you mentioned it. The reports yesterday afternoon that he was going to be out. Then he was spotted participating in the open practice yesterday in Buffalo. So, is he in? Is he out? Who knows? In my best, Chris Kamara? Could be not, Jeff. I don't know. But anyway.
Obviously, him being in or out is just enormous. We talk about the great freshman class that we have in college basketball this season. I feel like Michael Brown doesn't get talked about enough. Maybe that's because he hasn't played the entire season. He's been dealing with just coming and going back injuries. But again, all I have to do when talking about Michael Brown is defer to Seth, because Seth, you were on this channel and doing a game in which he dropped 45. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he didn't drop 45 against Little Sisters of the Poor University either, right? He dropped 45 against, a bubble team, but a team that did make the NCAA tournament. They're no longer in it.
It was an ACC team. It was a conference team,
and it wasn't Boston College either.
Right, or Georgia Tech, but yeah, he was. Yeah, he might have actually single-handedly broke NC State if you think about it. 2-8 down the stretch, and a certain fan base will tell you one of those wins was an asterisk because North Carolina was without 2 of their best players. But anyway, that's enough of that. Yeah, I mean, he can go off. There's no doubt about that. So we'll see. In South Florida again. The American isn't what it was when, but I think you used to say this back when UConn was in their struggling years post Ollie National Championship when they were down. You said this league had a perception problem because UConn was struggling. I kind of feel that way this year, that league has a perception problem because Memphis was so bad. There are some solid teams in there. Well, Tulsa is in the NIT. They have the second most wins in the history of their school. Think about some of the teams Tulsa's had over the years. It's no small feat. Wichita State was really good. UAB was good when they weren't playing in Birmingham. I mean, North Texas was solid. So there's some good basketball in this league. And South Florida, chief among them, just ran the league both regular season and tournament.
Well, we need to your point, we need to stop looking at the success or the lacks of it in the American because of Memphis. I mean, that's turned into a joke of a program here lately.
You're right, but they were the quote unquote flagship bearer when everybody else left a couple of years ago. When Houston and Cincinnati left, they became the flagship bearer, and they were a 5 seed for some stupid reason last year. So,
yes.
All right, no time, no rest for the weary. How about High Point and Wisconsin? Some people like this as a 12-5 upset, but I want to present this statistic to you for people that think High Point are going to win this game, and that High Point's going to win, and I have trust issues with Wisconsin. It's fair, but Let me listen to this one to you. High Point is 161st in adjusted defensive efficiency. This is Minor Mina Kimes coming out. Wisconsin played 5 teams in the 100s in defensive efficiency this year. The record in those games, they were 5-0. They averaged 92 points per game, and they won by average margin of victory of 24 points. Just something to keep in mind. JT, Baller League USA. JT's ready for that, but anyway.
I didn't love High Point's draw. First off, Wisconsin is extremely good, and then secondly, going out to Portland, I mean, it's just not a good draw for High Point. I think they could have won a game in this tournament, but I think that draw did them in on 2 different fronts, the opponent and the site. And that's too bad, but that's the breaks, I suppose. I mean, I don't know why they didn't get to come down to Greenville. North Carolina did, and they're a 6 seed.
Oh, well, it took until the halftime report of the first game for that to get mentioned, but you can now cross that off your imaginary daily bingo card.
And believe me when I say I am a bracketing principles guy. I support bracketing principles not only being followed, I think they should be followed to a T. We already talked about 3 Big East teams made it and 2 are in the same region. Houston should not be able to play in Houston if they are not the number 1 seed. And this rule that, well, they're not actually hosting it, so they get to play in it. Rice is apparently hosting the regional in Houston rather than Houston.
That was convenient.
Yeah, so that's why they get to play in it. You should only get those kinds of built-in advantages when you are the best of the best. And no doubt Houston is really good, but they're not a number 1 seed. And if the seeds hold up, even if the seeds don't hold up, even if Florida were to get upset at the top of that bracket, but Houston makes the Elite Eight, whoever they play in that regional final will be playing a road game. And that is... You just shouldn't have that unless you get a 1 seed. That's the only time when you should get an advantage like that. So, bracketing principles were not followed in many ways. And that's a shame. Because that only hurts... That only hurts the rest of the tournament, right? We want to... This tournament is crazy enough. It's the super speedway racing of basketball tournaments. I don't feel like we need to add other crazy bits of, should I say the word, gimmicks to it.
We've got Ben Schneider has taken over the broadcast. He is which is weird because his team plays tomorrow night. But anyway,
Duke gets to play in the Carolinas because they're a 1 seed.
Yes.
Arizona gets the West region because they're a 1. Michigan, Midwest because they're a 1. Now, yes, Florida as a 1 gets the South, and I wouldn't have had a problem with it if Houston wasn't there too. But I can't do anything about it. All I can do about it is talk about it, so I'll do that. What do you got, JT?
As a British guy listening to this conversation, what I'm getting from this is if you are not the 1 seed, i.e., if you are not good, you travel hundreds, thousands of miles away to play your games.
Hundreds of thousands of miles, yeah. Well, of
we're
course,
not playing the games in Hawaii. Now.
Of course, the West region next year will be in Istanbul.
Okay, this isn't Crystal Palace going to Cyprus to play a conference league game, but still, travel is immense.
But yes, you would like it to be the better you are, the more kind of built-in advantages you get, and the 1 seed should get regional advantages, scheduling advantages. Had that conversation last week with the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
But
by the way, while we have been yapping about seeds and bracketing principles, Nebraska's opened up a 13-point lead here.
Ooh. Yeah, I know a lot of people
32.
are, as we talked about, looking at Troy. I think there's a lot of neutrals that want Nebraska to win this just because we've never seen Nebraska win a tournament game. And it would be a shame, Seth, if their season came to an end by not at least getting that first tournament win, because what a season they've had.
And can I just say, now I know some people will chime in and say, other people like, that fan base deserves something. They deserve something. I mean, they travel regardless of sport. They support their team every sport. They deserve something. Lord knows they haven't got a return on their investment on their once proud football program in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
So they need something. And we'll see if they get it here. I was just sitting here thinking about this last night, and I say this to someone from the South. In the South, I've always said, the South, not the SEC, just the entire South, just takes college football so seriously. Any team in the South, has great fans. Well, to me, what the South is in college football, I feel like the Midwest is in college basketball. God, there's a lot of fan bases in the Midwest and Rust Belt that travel. I mean, Dayton, Miami of Ohio last night. I mean, that game might as well have been in Oxford, that first 4 game last night. I mean, Nebraska, Indiana, Purdue, Butler, the Dakotas will travel. Michigan State, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa State, Kansas, Wichita State, on down the line. There are some really good basketball fan bases in the Midwest in terms of how well they support their team.
By the way, we want to talk about bracketing principles. Missouri gets to play in St. Louis as a 10.
That's not great, Bob. Not great. Any thoughts on the second wave of games today, which are Siena Duke, McNeese Vanderbilt, North Dakota State, Michigan State, and Hawaii Arkansas?
One note on Duke and Siena, it does not sound like Patrick Gungba will play, so he will miss, what would that be, Duke's 5th game in a row. They've been hopeful to get him back by the tournament. Sounds like they're going to keep him out today in hopes of getting him to where he needs so he can play Saturday against the winner, of course, of TCU Ohio State. South Florida and Louisville, there's going to be a lot of threes taken in that game. Whether Michael Brown plays or whether he doesn't, there's going to be a lot of threes taken in that game. So whoever wins the three-point battle will probably win that game. We've talked about Wisconsin and High Point having to go all the way out and try to contain that backcourt that Wisconsin brings at you. So at Vanderbilt, McNeese is interesting too. I know a lot of people are on McNeese again because they've got tournament experience. They won a tournament game last year. Vanderbilt's really good. I'm not going to be shocked if McNeese wins, but I have to say I will be surprised. I just think Vanderbilt is... I think Vanderbilt's good enough to make it to the Sweet 16. And then if they do make it to the Sweet 16 and play Florida, they just beat Florida in the SEC tournament. So it could very well be an interesting tournament for Vanderbilt that gets started today.
We'll keep you posted with everything. As always, JT's pushing the buttons. I'm in the update chair. And Matthew yaps about the game. Second half from Greenville. Back to you, Big Mo. Let's see what happens here.
7 3-pointers hit by TCU in that first half. As we said, they were 7 of 13 from 3. A couple of players in double-figure scoring. And the second half, moments away from getting underway between these two power conference teams that won 20-plus games. Ohio State 121, TCU 122. As in Greenville, South Carolina, the Greenville pod here today that will bring you the watch-along coverage of. And it will be Ohio State as the higher seed. They wear their home whites. And it's the Buckeyes who will inbound to start the second half. TCU into the half on an 11-0 run, and David Punch, their best player, got a second foul and went to the bench, and after that, they outscored Ohio State 25-11. Second half is underway, and the Buckeyes with the ball get a quick basket, an easy one at the rim for John Mobley Jr. cutting down the middle, and he lays it home. And TCU brings it back the other direction. They attack to our left here in this second half. Black uniforms, white numbers, purple trim. Micah Robinson tried to drive in from the right, had it knocked away, and it goes off the thigh of Robinson and out of bounds. TCU with a turnover. Ohio State struggled with turnovers in that first half. They had 6, inbounded to Thornton. And some pressure in the backcourt here from TCU, which they didn't show a lot of in that first half. They doubled a lot on the perimeter in that first half defensively, did TCU, as Tilley gets a touch up top, puts his head down, drives up the middle, gets to the rim, and with the right hand lifts it up and in off the glass. He took on the defensive Edmonds and is able to drive right to the cup and knock it in. And 4 quick points for Ohio State to begin the second half. 6 points for Tilley to go along with 4 boards and 6 helpers. Outside left, Harding triggers it into the left corner. Robinson, bounce back up top, taken by Pierre. High screen comes, Pierre drives and kicks. Here is Punch from the right corner, spins his way in, lost the ball. Recovered in the lane by Edmonds. Back out, Harding threads it back to Edmonds, who lifted it up off the rim. It wouldn't go, got it back. Second bid wouldn't go either. Punch got a third chance and kicked it up top for an open look at a 3. Robinson misfires, and a foul. Going for the rebound against TCU. It'll belong to Ohio State. So the Buckeyes with the first 2 baskets of this second half, and they'll try for a little bit more than that. 11-point game. Most of that first half was played in a phone booth of area around 6 to 9 points, but it ended up being a 15-point lead that TCU swelled it up to at the end of the half. As here's Mobley from the foul line, leans into a wild jumper, missed off the left side of the rim. He was trying to draw a foul. Punch was able to grab the rebound and push it ahead, and here's TCU on offense. Out of the right corner, Harding cuts to the elbow, feeds Punch on the baseline. Elbows his way inside, lifts it up, missed it badly. Offensive rebound on the other side, Edmonds got it to a cutting Robinson. He scooped it up with the left hand, missed off glass. Rebound Ohio State, rushing into the front court. Bynum, now Thornton lobs it in. Royal catches and shoots through a double team. He had no purpose of doing that. He hits it off the glass, no good. No purpose in shooting that out of a double that early in the clock. Bad shot selection. At the other end, Harding cuts in, kicks it out, off the left wing, punches by himself, misfires for 3. TCU hasn't had one go down yet in this second half, but Harding keeps the possession alive with an offensive rebound, the 10th that TCU's had so far. Drive in from the left and going to the rim and getting blocked was Edmonds by Tilley. Taken out of the pile by Thornton. 7 straight misses to start the half for TCU. Thornton swings it left. 3 launched by Bynum. Hits off the heel, no good. Rebound down to Punch. And TCU again brings it into the front court with Harding. Slashing to his right, stopping on the elbow, threaded in the lane, Punch with the right hand, flips it up and in, soft touch from 10 feet away. And TCU with their first points of the second half after they had missed all of those shots in a row. Punch with his second field goal. He's got 5 points to go along with 9 rebounds. Mobley in the front court swings it right to left directionally. Handoff on the wing towards Tilley. There's a foul. First, it's on TCU as Royal got bumped. Shot clock will recycle to 20. And the Buckeyes will inbound it after that foul on the floor. Thornton will look to trigger it in. Hash mark, far side front court. Just behind him is his coach, Jake Diebler, one of the youngest head coaches in Division I college basketball. Gets it in to Noel. Noel dribbles left, hands it off. Thornton jacks up a 3, clatters off the cup, no good. They have not had 3s go down here today. Rebound to Punch. Plays it to a trailing Harding, who cuts in and kicks to the left corner. Robinson back to the outside. Lelavicius directs it left. Taken by Harding to Punch off the left elbow. Swirled back to the perimeter. Robinson knifes in, kicks out. Lelavicius on the deck. Bounces it to Punch, mid-post right. Draws a double. Tried to whip it underneath, and it went off the hands of his target, Robinson. And out of bounds. Turnover from Jamie Dixon's team. It did get tipped by Bynum, but after it went off Bynum's fingertips, it did go off of Robinson. So it's a good call, and TCU, who only committed 2 turnovers in the first 20 minutes of this game, has committed 2 in the first 4 minutes of the second half. Mobley brings it up. Ohio State trying to find a rhythm, down by 13. Gives it off left wing. Bynum, contested defensively by Robinson. Out for a screen is Noel. Bynum feeds it right. Royal on the arc, knocked away by Punch. Out of bounds on the near side. It'll stay with Ohio State. Shot clock at 8, and we get a timeout on the floor with 15:56 left in regulation time. And through the first 4 minutes of the half, scoring is only 4-2 in favor of Ohio State. Breaking the action. So let's give it to Seth. What's happening in Oklahoma City?
I'm glad you asked, as it is 14 seconds to play in the first 7 seconds, I should say, to say the first half. 41-23 Nebraska. After a close start of the game, the Huskers really just blew it open in the last 6 minutes or so of the first half. And so Nebraska will go into the locker room with an 18-point halftime lead. We are mere minutes away from tip-off in Buffalo, South Florida, Louisville. And on the Buffalo subject, shout out Jason Benetti and best wishes to Brian Anderson.
Yes, Brian, who he was struggling Tuesday night. I'm sure he was having fun, but he was struggling Tuesday night. Doing Texas.
They should have just let Charles and Dickie V do the broadcast if he was that sick, honestly.
I mean,
they basically did it anyway.
I mean, he literally could have just been there to send it to break, and that's all he had to do. But yes, hopefully.
I don't care what anybody says. That was fun the other night.
Oh, it was incredibly fun. So yes, hoping that he gets well. He intends on being back for the 2 games Saturday. He's done a full college basketball slate this year, which has been different from how his seasons have normally gone, where he does so much NBA, but then steps in to do the tournament on, I keep wanting to call it Turner, on TNT Sports. And
well, you could have said it, and I don't know what you mean.
Right.
I still call it Turner, to be perfectly honest with you. The artist formerly known as BT Sport in the UK.
You're right, yes, very good.
As Louisville has hit a 3 40 seconds in, and we're off and running in that one. That's not going to be the last 3-pointer made in that game. I can promise you that.
No, it won't. It will not. Louisville likes to shoot a ton of threes, even without Michael Brown. You've got Javon Hadley and Isaac McNeely that will throw up some threes. Conwell will. Yeah, there would be some threes taken, missed, and made in that game. How outdated are these Serie A highlights? I remember seeing this particular goal last week.
Don't start me the line. That's a saying I learned from my father, who may or may not have a passing interest rooting for the Bulls in this game in Buffalo.
I would think so. Buckeyes inbound to start play, and a pull-up jumper from just beyond the left elbow, missed short from Royal. Rebound run down by the guys in black and purple, and TCU, who's missed 7 of their first 8 shots to begin this second half. On offense here, Punch top of the arc, dribbles to his right. On the wing, feeds it back to Harding. Harding changes direction, gets to the foul line. Wanted to loft it outside, instead dug it in deep. Punch spins in deep on the baseline, goes up and gets blocked from behind. Bynum got a hand on it. Buckeyes the other way. Thornton flashing forward. Gets it to Bynum, cutting in, and he dunks it down. Great feed by Thornton, who also leads this team in assists at 4 a game. Gets one there as Bynum rocks the rim. At the other end, a wild shot is thrown up through traffic by Robinson that misses, but there was a foul first.
By the way,
yes.
I need to get ahead of this too. So my father, who isn't as big a college basketball fan as he once was, he filled out a bracket too, and he and I have the same freaking national championship game and championship game winner.
Well, all we can say to that is it won't happen.
like I said, that's Collins Janis, our good friend. He has the same championship game as me. It's a good thing. The fact that you don't makes me think it could happen, though.
Robinson kicks the first free throw in off the front of the rim. That foul was in the act of shooting, so
These brackets were filled for entertainment purposes only.
Robinson at the line for 2 hit his first. And his second one is up, and that pours in, 43-30.
JT even filled one.
Yeah, JT did fill out a bracket. He did.
And I got to tell you, man, as a neutral basketball fan, I'd be here for his title game rematch of what we had in the regular season between those two. You kidding me?
Yeah, he's got Duke and Michigan in the final. 2 teams dealing with injury for sure, but are still incredibly talented. We'll see if they can stack together 6 wins in a row. Ohio State just looking for 1 win here to keep their season alive. They trail by 13. Entry feed. Noel got it outside, and we get a whistle. And Ohio State with a turnover. It's hard to win 6 straight games in this tournament. And the tournament-like atmosphere of this, where you're playing 2 games. If you win your first game, you're playing 2 games in 3 days, and it's 1 and out. Here's a 3 at the other, and Edmonds stepped into it confidently, missed it off the left side of the rim. It's out of bounds, untouched to the Buckeyes. Poor shooting here from both teams to begin this second half. In fact, neither team has hit a 3 to start the half. They're a combined 0 for 5. Thornton brings it up, picked up defensively by Pierre. Gives it up off left wing for Bynum, who turns it up top, and there's a 3 that goes down. It's Mobley, who swishes in a straight-on 3. Mentioned earlier he led the Big Ten in three-point shooting percentage at 42%. It's his second of the day. 10-point margin here. David punch for TCU, and we get a whistle and a timeout taken by Jamie Dixon in TCU. Just about 6 minutes gone in this second half. And it's the Horned Frogs from the Big 12 leading the Big Ten team by 10.
No, neither conference has the ordinate amount of teams that the conference name would indicate.
No, they don't.
It's the Big 12 plus 4, the Big 10 plus 8.
Is it only 8?
They should just lean into the silliness of modern college and just name it that. Big 10 plus 8. Big 12 plus 4.
Is it only 8? My God, I thought you were going to say plus 15 at this point.
You know, I can neither confirm nor deny that JT's university is going to apply for Big Ten membership within the next.
One of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life of watching this very crazy sport was the opening day of the Big Ten tournament, a 15-18 matchup.
And Maryland did have something positive to take out of their season. They were the first ever 17 seed to win a tournament.
Yes.
Of any kind.
Incredible
So you can hang the banner. Pierre just texted me his title game pick. He has UConn over Arizona.
UConn. Wow.
I must say, mine, by the way, the one that everybody wants to, in case you're wondering, well, we got the same team. Well, who is it? Mine is Michigan over Houston. Michigan was my preseason pick, and I refuse to back off of it until they give me a reason to. And I know the injuries are there, but I still trust him. My best Larry Mack voice.
Interesting, Pierre taking UConn, because a lot of people are down on them coming into the tournament, and really not even coming into the tournament. A lot of people are down on them the last 2 months.
Yeah, they've been playing with their food a lot. I actually had them losing to UCLA in the second round. So, but you know what? You brought up a good point, Matthew. Just when you start to doubt UConn, that's when they turn it on.
Right.
And, they have a history of doing that. The rest of my Final Four, by the way, in addition to Houston and Michigan, I have Arizona and I have Michigan State. My lesson for this year is I am not letting past history dictate my feelings, i.e. picking Arizona to go that far. I don't want to hear it. This is the best team they've had since they won it in '97. This is a very good basketball team. I think that's your pick, is it not, Arizona?
Oh yeah, I've been on them. I've been on them since they beat Florida on night 1. And perhaps it was silly to jump on them that early because Florida did struggle to start the year. Turned out to be really good. But I just think Arizona's got everything. Now we talk about the injuries. Jaden Bradley nothing has been told to us that he's not going to play, but his left hand certainly bothered him down the stretch of that Big 12 tournament, and I would be heartbroken if he was hampered in any way. I really hope that this tournament doesn't get decided by injuries, but you get the sense that it is in some way because there's so many big injuries.
Well, look at what SMU did and how they bamboozled the committee, as it turned out.
Well, yes. TCU.
Someone made a good point. I'll tell you what. Next dead ball, I'll tell you the point someone made.
TCU with a turnover. Tanner Toulson had the ball slip out of his hands. So Ohio State within 10 and trying to get closer. Mobley pump fakes off right wing, steps in on the baseline with a floater, misses. Weak side offensive rebound taken by Royal. Slash back outside. Thornton swings it right. Mobley catches, fires, and lets a three fly, and he rips the cords from distance again.
Here we
with
go.
His third three, and it's a 7-point game. So Mobley has hit a couple of threes in a row, and perhaps Ohio State is set to go on a run. Pierre trying to stop it. Floater off the right baseline came up short. Bynum took the rebound, and here come the Buckeyes. Back on offense. Thornton lobs it in. Tilley a catch on the left lane line. Goes to the rim, lays it up. No, but he draws a foul. He was contacted by Edmonds. And Tilley will be going to the line, where he does struggle at times. 7-footer is 73%.
Not to bring this other sport and have it, poison it too, but still want to get a point to if Florida State had lied about Jordan Travis's injury report, would they have made the college football playoff a few years ago? Which, to be fair, I don't think you could cover his injury.
No. Tilley.
That's the only thing wrong with that theory.
Right.
But it is fun to think about, given what happened with SMU and Edwards.
Tilley able to rattle in the first free throw. Well, they shouldn't be making their decisions based on what the teams say about injuries anyway.
Pierre adds Florida and Michigan completes his Final Four.
One more for Tilley at the line. I'll give you mine in a moment. It's not reinventing the wheel, as Tilley drops in both free throws. Last foul was on Edmonds. That's his third, as Brock Harding brings the ball up into the front court for TCU. Quarterbacks it off the left wing for Robinson. Back to the top of the arc. Punch, looks to his right, looks to his left. Finds Lelavicius off the wing. His three. Clanks off the iron, no good. Rebound taken by Mobley. He'll speed it up into the front court. 5-point game all of a sudden. Mobley slithers towards the paint. Stops on the left blocks. Back to the outside. Royal drives in. Banks it up off the glass and in with the right hand. And Ohio State has turned a 15-point halftime deficit into a 3-point margin just 7.5 minutes into the half. At the other end, open look. Robinson a three. Line drive misses off right wing. Rebound Buckeyes. And here they come again. They are on a run. Here's a step back long three from the left wing, and that misses from Mobley, and he tried a heat check that would not fall. Harding at the other end, able to knife his way inside. Corkscrews left baseline, flipped it back into the corner. Pierre brings it back middle of the floor, looks straight at his head coach, Jamie Dixon. Weaves over to the right, hands off for Lelavicius. Gives it up top for Punch. Punch dribbles left, faked a handoff, curled inside, drew a crowd. Jumped it back outside. Lelavicius bobbled it. Shot clock winding down, as you can see. It's down to 3. Step back 3. Oh, it goes down from the top of the arc with the shot clock winding down. Pierre drains it. Something about that New Jersey and Pierre combination. Pierre hits a triple. And boy, did they need that. We've got a foul called after the basket, apparently. And that will lead us to a timeout with 11:43 to go here in regulation time. Buckeyes had cut it to 3, but that Pierre triple doubles the lead back up to 6. Now, what the whistle for after the basket and what's sending us to this timeout, I do not know. I'll research in the break. And I'll also tell you, as I promised, Final Four during the break here, I have Michigan State and Houston, Arizona and Michigan. So I've got 2 Big Tens and 2 Big 12s in my Final Four, and an all Big 12 final rematch of the Big 12 tournament final in the NCAA final, Arizona beating Houston.
I tell you, a Michigan-Arizona semifinal would feed families.
Now, now there's also I've got Michigan and Michigan State in my Final Four. They're on opposite sides of the bracket. If you believe in the words of Seth Greenberg, he has a Michigan State championship game. Now, you want to talk about collectively losing our minds, because that rivalry has maybe never been, at least on the basketball side, this vicious. Michigan and Michigan State. And those two in a national championship game.
That sounds like madness, Math.
It does.
Matthew.
Yes. How about that?
A type of madness which is only possible in March or April.
Yeah, or later.
Yeah, indeed. Michigan State championship game with May and Izzo with boxing gloves to have a UFC style cage match at halftime. Oh my God. With Channel 9 or Dick Berger. Not that they were ever on there to begin with. You can cross those two off each other's Christmas card list.
Yes.
Uh-oh. Izzo's got problems with Dusty. I think you can cross those two off their Christmas card. My favorite part of, I've showed my dad that clip, that Spencer Dallenbach wreck one time, and he was laughing when Eli said, "This happened behind the leaders." And Dad was like, "No, he's like, no bleep, it happened behind the leaders."
That's very good.
Jimmy, only we could bring Jimmy Spencer and Wally Dallenbach into a college basketball station.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I don't think that Tom Izzo is hitting the old dusty trail to Ann Arbor for funsies anytime soon.
Yes. I would agree. Yeah, they're not exactly sharing a slice of Little Caesars in Detroit.
No,
let's put it that way.
The pizza box, which hopefully we'll get Stanley Cup playoff games in this year.
Might be getting double dose of playoff action at the pizza box.
Oh, what heartbreaking news, though, about Cade Cunningham. Wish all the best to him.
Oh, no.
As we get play restarted here, Ohio State trailed at the half by 15. They now trail by 6. And they're on offense here with Mobley, who gets blitzed with a double, gave it to Tilly, then up top Thornton, steps in, return for Tilly, back to Mobley, he's got the hot hand, fakes a three, steps back, then takes it, and misfires this time. Lelavicious away with the rebound. TCU trying to hang on after that explosive end of the first half, got on that big lead. Here's Pierre, defended by Mobley, swung cross court, Robinson off left wing, back for Pierre, around the horn off right wing, Harding, takes a screen, from Punch, Harding to the right elbow, lifts it back outside. Shot clock, as you see, down to 7. Up the middle, Robinson drives, had it stripped, Punch recovered, goes up strong, gets fouled, and the shot drops. And Punch punches it in, and will try to make it a 3-point play and a 9-point lead.
Punch with a slam!
Yes, foul is on Tilly. Harker Heights, Texas sophomore David Punch. He's had big games a lot this season, leads TCU in scoring and rebounding. Had his biggest performance of the year scoring-wise last Wednesday in their second-round victory in the Big 12 tournament over Oklahoma State. He scored 26. Made the free throw to complete the 3-point play. He's got 8 for the game. TCU up by 9 again. Thornton into the front court for Ohio State, takes a high screen, slips it off left wing. Tilly holds the ball over his head, then gets blitzed with a double, needs someone to help him out. He finds Mobley trailing. Now Mobley has a double come at him. They will double at any given time. Mobley up to Thornton. Thornton lobs it up. Tough catch underneath by Bynum. He goes up, has to deal it off to Tilly. Tilly with the right-handed hook through traffic, missed short, and Punch cleared away the rebound. Here come the Frogs. Whipped forward by Pierre, who gets it back on a quick return from Harding. Pierre takes a screen, turns the corner to the foul line, back out. Harding, left of the center of the arc. Now he slashes up the baseline. Underneath the basket, goes up. High off the glass, layup misses. Tilly is there to secure the rebound. The 7-footer from Germany. Transferred in from Santa Clara, who's in the tournament field this year. Outside left, Ohio State with the ball, Mobley. Mobley looks for someone to pass it to. Tried to go cross-court with it for Bynum. Knocked out of bounds by Harding. It'll stay with Ohio State. Shot clock at 17. I don't have to tell you the shot clock anymore. JT's taking care of that now. Look at him go.
JT, a giant in a world of shriveling little people. Thank you, JT, for living your life so that we could live ours.
Royal gets it in, top of the arc. Tilly spinning on punch, spins again, steps his way to the rim. What a couple of moves that was from Christoph Tilly. Lays it in, and he took on a terrific defender and punch to do it. Tilly into double-figure scoring for the 20th time this year. He's also got 5 boards and 6 helpers. Off the left elbow, sliding on the floor with it was Harding. Off to Lela Vicious on the deck, got right to the rim. Lefty layup, too strong off the glass. He did everything but finish it. Here's Ohio State back up the floor. Mobley crossing over in the lane. Running floater is good from Mobley. He can hit the threes, but he has the soft touch from the inside. He's the high man for Ohio State with 15. Right back down to a 5-point game. We have another whistle after a basket. No one can tell us why. But play is set to restart, and it does with Harding. Brock Harding out of Illinois. Weighs about 160, soaking wet, dribbled it off his foot, then he did not get it across the timing line in time. TCU turnover. He was right at the timing line, hadn't yet crossed it, dribbled the ball off his foot, had to go back and get it, and by the time he did, 10-second violation. Dribbled it off his left heel by the looks of it as he tried to go between the legs on the dribble to offset Mobley. So the 6th turnover of the game for TCU. 4 have come in this half. Inbounding near side front court is Thornton. He does to Bynum. Bynum spins it left, taken by Cups, who's back on. Cups gives it to Mobley, who tried to curl off a screen for an open look at a 3. Thought better of it. He's defended by Pierre. He sprints to his right. He swings it cross court, and wide open is Cups out of the left corner for 3, and he slams down the triple. And Gabe Cups has made this a 2-point game. First points of the game for the sophomore from Dayton. He only averages 1.5 points per game. He hits that one for 3. And a timeout taken by Jamie Dixon and TCU. He's been pretty free with taking timeouts, and now he's only got one left for the final 8:40. Hope he knows that. Gabe Cups into the bottom of the cup from 3. 2-point game.
I have found out some information. When I press
Okay.
the score button on the stream deck, it resets the shot clock automatically.
It does, yes. Now I did know that part.
So I don't have to add the score and reset the shot clock button. I can just add the score because it does it automatically.
And that is a relief.
Yes. How did you know that before I knew that?
That was one of the first things I tested months ago to see if we could have the shot clock on, and I said no. I said no. I'll just say what the shot clock is.
You said no. I said yeah.
He said yes. JT. Yeah, JT. You are smart. Let me tell you, Matthew is the king of preparation. So he's always going to be one step ahead of the game in the preparation department.
I wouldn't go that far. TCU off the inbound out of the 30-second timeout. Xavier Edmonds back on the floor, dribbling in. Up the left blocks he goes. He hesitates, goes up strong, missed the shot. In tight, but drew a foul. And Edmonds back on the floor for the first time after picking up that 3rd foul. And he goes right to work against the defensive Bynum and is able to draw a foul, trying to post him up. If you are new to the channel, and I would imagine that we have a lot of new people that's just tuning into us as they try to find something like this, stream like this for tournament games today to keep up whether you're at work or at school, as Edmonds makes the first free throw if you are new to us. And if you like what you are seeing and more so hearing, hit the like and subscribe button. And be with us for all of the other great events that we will have beyond just the NCAA tournament. Edmonds misses his second free throw after making the first, and Ohio State with the rebound brings it up, trailing by 3. Thornton from the left of the March Madness logo. On the dribble, between the legs, defended by Pierre. He'll take him on. Head down dribble by Thornton. Gives it up inside through traffic. Putting it up from in tight and missing was Royal, but he drew a foul, and he'll go to the line. Jarek Rubel, our hockey guy, with us here. See, I need Jarek. I need Jarek to do football and basketball on this channel. Come on, Jarek. Let's go. Love to hear how you call a basketball game. You've done football for us before. He says, scoreboard design looks great on the stream. Thank you, Jarek. I'll give Jarek this. I'll give him this. I would love to hear him on a basketball game. I've heard him on a few football games in the past, but I will give him this as Royal hits the first free throw. He is very dedicated to hockey. He is an all-around sports fan, but he is a super fan in hockey, and he is dedicated to not only doing hockey games, but getting better and better on hockey. Jarek, how long ago was it when you started doing hockey games with us? Was it 3 or 4 years? Because, well, I don't know why I asked Jarek. I was going to say, I don't know why I'm asking Jarek, because I know Seth will know. Royal hits the second free throw.
I think it was the 21-22 season.
See, Seth has everything up.
That was the year where something in my brain short-circuited and thought, it'd be a good idea for me to do some hockey.
Pierre loses the ball in the lane. It's stolen by Bynum. And Ohio State, off the takeaway, has a chance to take the lead. What I was getting to is, Jarek, in however long you've been with us, the way that you have gotten just improved and progressed has been amazing to watch. I'm so thrilled to say that, as Cups drives his way into the lane, wraps it back up. Bynum drives in, banks it up for the lead, and it goes. And Bynum has given Ohio State their first lead since it was 5-2 after trailing at the half by 15. And now TCU, who was in cruise control for much of this game and for the majority of this half, now they trail, and Robinson chisels in from the right, flips it up softly. No, scrap for the rebound. We have a foul, and it's going against the Horned Frogs. So Ohio State, with a magic eraser, has gotten rid of a 15-point halftime deficit. They lead by 1 with a timeout on the floor, 7:05 left. Listen, we have seen, Seth, much crazier things than just a 15-point halftime deficit going away in this tournament. We've seen 15-point deficits erased in 2 or 3 minutes in this tournament. So this isn't some huge surprise. But Ohio State has really stepped up here.
I remember a game back in 1999 when Tulsa played Charleston.
Yes.
In a game that both coaches probably wanted to actively lose because they knew they were playing the behemoth that was Duke in the second round. But Bill Self, the head coach of that Tulsa team, by the way, and Tulsa was up 20, 25, and then Charleston got that thing down to about 4 or 5. Al McGuire was about, in the last tournament he would ever work, God rest his soul, Al McGuire was about to fall into the scores table, losing his mind every Charleston possession in that comeback.
He did that a lot.
Well, he did. That's fair. And Vern Lundquist just trying to navigate traffic. That's also the infamous story where Al said he could figure it out, and then he didn't. There were no numbers on the back, and then he looked over to Vern and said, "Partner, I think I'm screwed." But anyway, Al McGuire was one of one. And I'll tell you what, man, back to the God rest his soul department, how Dick Enberg put up with him and Billy Packer for all those years is a mystery.
No, Dick Enberg, who I think everyone knows I just adore, and I do say that in the present tense because I still do adore him. He worked with a lot of people. the fact that he worked with those two people simultaneously for so long, I don't know. I don't know how he didn't go crazy.
I
Because
tell you,
what
some of the
a
stories
trio.
I've heard about those two, and I've heard, and I'm sorry, Matthew, a lot of them I've heard from Billy, so I know you're never going to paint him, but some of the stories are really good. My favorite was one year they worked at the St. Louis, and in St. Louis, the Final Four. And long story short, Billy was alone. Al asked him if he wanted to get some lunch, and so they go to some boat, and Al acts like he's the health inspector, and they got a free lunch. Those two were a trip. Those three were a trip, man. But to me, a quintessential. Okay, I know you weren't a Packer fan by any stretch, but like a trio in terms of you have the guy who does his job, you have the entertainment man, and you have the straight man. I thought that was good. I know obviously a lot of others like Manny disagree with that, but I thought it was entertaining.
It was entertaining. No doubt about that. How much do you think NBC regretted losing the rights to the tournament? Because they did have it for a while.
They did. Yeah, up till 81.
Mm-hmm.
81 was their last one. By the way, in the present tense, Nebraska's up 14, start of the second half. 7:46 to go first half. 24-11 Louisville over South Florida. And with 15-17 to play in the first, Wisconsin has raced out to a 15-5 lead over the Fighting Ryan Blaney's of High Point University.
Buckeyes bring it up the floor out of the timeout. They are on an 11-1 run. And now lead by 1, and now they lead by 3 as it's whipped inside to Royal, who rises up for a dunk. And it's a 53-50 Ohio State lead. If NBC would have held tightly to those tournament rights, we would have had Mike Tirico calling these games today. That would have hit like really good stuff. Here's Harding pinning his way up the left baseline. Kicks it out up top. Lella Vicious was open, and his three barely grazed the front of the rim. Rebound taken up off the floor by Mobley. Buckeyes on a 13-1 run. Once again inside, Royal gets free to the rim and lays it in. And now it's a 15-1 run, and it's a 5-point lead. At the other end, foul on Ohio State as TCU was rushing it up the floor. The Buckeyes, going to the start of this second half, are on a 31-11 run. Wow. From 15 down to 5 ahead with just north of 6 to go. Edmonds back in for TCU. They were cooking on offense in that first half, but they have struggled to find anything here in this second half. Here's Harding dancing his way to the left, pins it back to the right, wheels around, turns the corner on the lane line, back out punch, drives in, carves out a lane for himself, gets to the rim, and banks it up and in, and a foul, and punch. Best player on this TCU team. Trying to get the Horned Frogs back on the tracks. With a strong take. I have no idea where the foul was in there. Bynum with a bit of a forearm from behind. I think you let that go. But Punch scores, and he'll go to the line to try to complete a three-point play. It's another story every year with this tournament. How will these games be officiated? Officials now seeing teams for the first time, seeing teams out of conferences for the first time. And it is one of the kooky things in this tournament, as the N1 free throw from Punch is good. These are not like in the NBA. You all have the same officials, and they only officiate in the NBA. In this tournament, you're going to get officials out of the Big 12 or out of the Big West or out of Conference USA that start officiating teams from conferences that they haven't been in all year, and every official calls it differently, and every crew calls it differently. Ohio State with the ball up 2. Cops handed it off left wing to Mobley. Bounce back to Thornton. Return for Bynum, who drives strong up the middle and drops down a slam plus a foul. Amari Bynum muscles his way in. And the Buckeyes have upped their level of physicality big time. They are going right to the rim with reckless abandon, and Bynum winds it up and slaps it down. Foul on Toulson.
That qualifies your first hammer drop of the tournament.
A rim rattler. Bynum will go to the line. He's a rebound shy of a double-double. 12 points, 9 boards, and he has been, this whole team has gotten so much more aggressive these last couple of trips down the floor. They are going straight to the rim. Not bothering with all of this dribbling around the perimeter stuff. He missed the and one free throw. Punch clears away the rebound. 4-point game here with 5.5 left. First game of the day in Greenville. Robinson outside right, centered ball for Pierre, puts it on the deck, gets to the right elbow, steps back, feeds the foul line, Punch holds the ball over his head, lofts it inside, Edmonds with a catch, twisting and turning his way through a double team, shovels it up through 2 defenders, and gets it to drop. Edmonds, when he picked up that third foul, that's when things started to change the wrong direction for TCU. He's back on the floor and scoring a big basket there. Buckeyes have made their last 7 from the field. Thornton with a left corner 3 here. Breaks that string as that skips off the cup. No good. Rebound was taken by Edmonds. Harding diagonaled it forward in transition. And here come the Frogs. They could tie or take the lead on this trip. Edmonds dribbles along the arc to his left, fakes a handoff, spins just beyond the elbow, shovels at Pierre. Up high, drifts left, cuts out, mid-range jumper to tie, off the rim a couple of times, no good. Rebound scrap for, recovered by Edmonds, given to Punch. Punch extra pass on the right baseline was too unselfish. Back out Harding, loads up a 3, no. Another offensive rebound. Edmonds with 4 defenders around him goes up and gets hit hard. Foul is called and Edmonds is down. Edmonds is down, holding the crown of his head. He had 4 defenders draped around him as he somehow snagged that rebound. And then went back up to try to put it back. I don't know who you call the foul on, because I think he got hit by all 4 of the defenders around him when he went up. Mobley went airborne. Bynum went airborne. They all went airborne. Well, except for Tilly, because he doesn't have to.
It was synchronized leaping. He had 4 jumping at once.
Yeah. Tilly, the 7-footer, got on his tippy toes. Thankfully, Edmonds is back up to his feet, and it looks like he's going to be well enough to shoot these free throws. He's a good rebounder. Really showed off his rebounding skills there. 4:28 to go, and big free throws coming for Edmonds. He could tie it if he knocks down 2, but he's only 65% from the line this season. Right foot in front of the left, bends the knees, flicks the wrist. First one is good. Junior from Long Beach, California. IndyCar will be there not too long from now here on this channel. Every race of the NTT IndyCar Series season. That was not a planned segue, but it just happened organically. Second free throw misses short and left. Rebound was taken by Tilly. Seth doesn't like segues. He fell off one twice. And here's Thornton.
There you go.
Across the timing line into the front court to our right.
Put that on a bingo card too, JT.
Right-handed hip-high dribble. Bynum on the return, back for Thornton, who gives it up top. Mobley, he's had the hot hand in this second half. Just about everyone wearing a white shirt and scarlet numbers has had a hot hand. Tilly cutting to the rim. Oh, and Punch denies him. Met him at the summit. TCU the other way can take the lead. Punch down the lane, gonna give it to him. Finger rolls it in with the right on a drive between the pipes. TCU goes up by 1, less than 4 minutes to go. First game of the day, giving us some madness. Boy, Harding came out of nowhere, tried to strip Mobley, who held on to the dribble and then got it to Thornton, and a timeout is taken by Jake Diebler. Under 4 to go, 1-point game.
So, JT just sitting in our chat. That was a chaotic 30-second to the scoreboarding department with all the rebounds. I responded, welcome to the world of the NCAA tournament.
Now, here's a question.
Yeah, it's my...
here's a question for you, JT.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt you. JT, this MFer's got bonus. He's got the bonus sign up.
Oh, yeah.
You're in the bonus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's... Now, here's a question for you, JT, because I told you I tested this out months ago. I told you I tested this out months ago, but now I can't remember because it was so long ago. So when you reset the shot clock, does it reset to 30 or 20? Because
it resets to 30, so that's why the rebounds
Yes.
so busy because I have to reset the shot clock and then I have to press the -5 seconds button twice.
Yeah,
So
that's
2 offensive rebounds back to back was a lot of resetting shot clock to 30 seconds and then pressing the -5 seconds twice.
those rebounds were offensive.
And then having to add the foul and all of that. But yeah, living life. And Seth, I could do more if I wanted to. I just haven't added it
Oh,
yet.
I'm sure you can. Oh, I'm not. No, I'm sure you can. The possibilities of what you can do are endless, young man. Go out and reach the sky.
It's not.
Keep your feet on the ground.
He could
keep reaching to the star.
he could probably hit a button on that scoreboard that would launch something in NASA to space.
Somebody call NASA. Yeah.
But no one heard that from me. We don't need to be investigated.
That's right.
By the way, Jarek doubles down. So I'm glad that I work with people like Jarek and Seth that have such great memories, because I don't. Jarek says November 2021 was his first hockey game with the Stars Hurricanes.
I mean, yeah, he would know.
So it's
By
been,
the way, we talk
it's
about
been
David
4.5 years. That's crazy.
David Punch, the TCU superstar, not to be confused with David Vickers.
No, David
and
Vickers.
Ohio State's arch rival of Michigan.
David Vickers, though, I did hear had a really good season and made All Mountain West as he transferred to UNLV. So it's a good season for.
I heard there was a certain island school he was playing with.
You unplugged the audio cable at that bit. You use a TV speaker.
So, we'll cut away from the silliness here for just a moment, because this game's been silly, but it's getting serious. From silly to serious.
We're going to have Magic to start off? Could be.
1 point game with under 4 to go. Possession arrow does belong to TCU. Buckeyes inbound near side front court. Mobley gets it into Bynum. Bynum directs a bounce pass to Tilley. Right of the lane, he's got Punch defending. Tilley turns in the corner, hands off for Thornton. Thornton, left-handed dribble. He'll drive in at Punch, who covers him up, tried to scoop it up, and it's off the front of the rim. No. Rebound down to Punch. And TCU up by 1. It's been a roller coaster ride of a second half here. Trying to extend this lead. Out of the right corner, Pierre shovels a centering feed up top. Robinson around the horn. Left wing Lelavicius. Off to Punch, dribbles across the lane. Handoff Harding. Harding backpedals. Winds his way to his right. Gets on the right blocks. Finds Punch at the foul line. Spinning, trying to go up against Tilley. He lost the ball, but there's a whistle and a foul. And it's on Ohio State with the shot clock all the way down to 6. Both teams are over the limit, as you can see. And free throws are coming. It'll be 1-1. With that foul on the floor. That last timeout did serve as the final media timeout with under 4 minutes left. So here's Punch, 65% from the line this season. 1-1, and he misses the front end, and it's rebounded by the Buckeyes. And we told you earlier, this is a TCU team that ranked 239th in the country in free throw shooting percentage as a team. Big miss there. Last foul was on Thornton, his third, as Mobley dribbles on the midcourt logo before swinging it left, and it's Thornton behind a screen. Punch defends, and he's got him in a straitjacket, and Thornton has to turn to the official and take a timeout, the penultimate one for Ohio State. Thornton doesn't get himself in that kind of web often, but he did there. So a timeout taken by the Buckeyes. Now, conversely, speaking about TCU, 239th in the country in free throw shooting, Ohio State is top 20 at 77.5%. Both teams, again, in the bonus. So the discrepancy in free throw shooting could absolutely turn this game around. A 1-point game in the final 3 minutes, and the madness clearly beginning earlier than maybe right away. going to get some craziness. In Greenville, South Carolina, 8-9 matchup. Winner to play Duke or Siena. That's the next game on this court. Thornton to inbound, far side front court. Gets it into the hands of Tilly. Tilly comes and hands off. Coming to meet it is Mobley. Mobley steps back, and a long shot misses wide right. Lelavicious is there with the defensive rebound. TCU brings it up. Brock Harding, left-handed dribble. On the March Madness logo, zigging and zagging from his right to his left. Punch out for a screen. Harding takes it to the elbow, climbs the block, stops on the hesitation. Twirls it back outside. Robinson puts it on the deck. Slices to the right baseline. Shot clock single digits. Lelavicious around the horn. Left corner, Harding drives the baseline underneath the basket. Back out to the corner, up for three. Pierre. It misses short. Rebound free off the floor. Thornton. Open floor ahead of him, 2-on-2. Thornton going to the rim strong. Floats it up. It doesn't go, but he draws a foul from behind, or rather it was a blocking foul called in front of him as Harding tried to draw a charge. He got called for the block, and Harding is down. Harding probably took a hit up high. Thornton was swinging his elbows. Ooh, boy. Yeah, Thornton was swinging his elbows there in transition, and he got Harding right in the nose by the looks of it with the elbow. And he's bleeding. He's lying on his back, bleeding out from his nose and his upper lip. They could always go to the monitor on that and see if it should be upgraded to a flagrant. I'm not sure it would come back as a flagrant, but they could always take a look at it. Jamie Dixon has come all the way over from the opposite end of the floor to check on Brock Harding. I told you earlier, he's certainly not the biggest guy in the world, 160 pounds, and that's what he's listed at. I can only believe he's 160 soaking wet. But he's a scrappy one, and he's just gotten help to his feet, and now they are going over to the monitor to review this. We'll see what comes of this review. Wow, there's a lot of blood coming out from Harding. But we'll see what comes of the review, but that's going to be a tricky one with it being in transition, and certainly nothing malicious there from Thornton. But as he's going up for the shot, he does swing that right elbow up and just clocks Harding right in the nose. There's that much blood. I don't think you have to review it when there's that much blood streaming out. So obviously a very important review here with just 2:08 left. And we will see what comes of this. Obviously, huge decision one way or another. And they have just given the call on the microphone by the scores table. We'll see what we're going to get here. We're going to get free throws for Thornton, so I don't think they've upgraded. And that's a really difficult series of events to upgrade to a flagrant foul. It's an unfortunate moment, especially for Harding, who's, dropping blood like crazy, but that's really hard to upgrade that to a flagrant. First free throw from Thornton is good. He rattles it in, and we are tied. Neither coach has used their challenge today. I don't believe that was a challenge. I do believe that was an official initiated review. Now Thornton, free throw for the lead. 83% from the line this season, and he knocks them both down, and Ohio State has retaken the lead. They trailed by 15 at the half. They've led by as much as 5 in this second half. They now lead by 1. TCU brings it up with Pierre. Left-handed dribble across the timing line. Directs it left for Lelavicious, who gave it to Robinson. Now it's back for Pierre. Pierre grinding on the perimeter defensively with Mobley. Entry feed punch. Punch gets doubled. Nearly had it knocked away. He drifts back to the right corner. Takes a running start at Tilly. Spins inside. Punch goes up and banks it in for the lead and a foul. David Punch coming through in the clutch. When TCU needed their best player to step up in a big moment, he did just that. And hard to stop that. 6'7", 246. And using that big frame to work his way inside. Now he missed the front end of a 1-and-1 last time he was at the line. He's at the line again here, and 1 to try to push the lead to 2 points. Taking a lot of time at the line, too, thinking about it. But he does make it. Clutch basket, clutch free throw to follow. As you can see, bottom of your screen, 1 timeout left for each team. 1:45 left, clock begins to roll. Ohio State trails by a deuce. Brought up by Mobley, who's had a hot hand in this second half. One of the best three-point shooters in the Big Ten. Flashing to his right is Royal. Mobley keeps the ball. Bounces it left for Thornton. Thornton, the all-time leading scorer in Buckeye program history. Back out Mobley. Catches, puts up the 3. Off right wing, no. Rebound up in the air from Punch. Swatted at. It's out of bounds. Who's it off of? It'll stay with Ohio State. 1:20 left. And there was no clear change of possession, so the shot clock will be at 20 for Ohio State to inbound. Mentioned Thornton, all-time leading scorer in Ohio State program history's averaged 20 points per game this season. TCU defensively has locked him up today, limited him to 7. He loops an inbounds pass to the foul line taken by Royal. Royal fronts his defender, drives in strong, banks it up, no, but he draws a foul on Micah Robinson. And it'll be free throws for an 80% shooter from the line, Devin Royal, to try to tie the game for Ohio State University. Royal's only taken 2 free throws today. He's made them both. Pickerington, Ohio Jr. flicks up the first free throw and drops it. 1-point game. 1:16 to go. And Harding has been cleaned up on the bench, and he is back into the game for TCU. How about that? Took an elbow to the face. And in 5 minutes of real time, he's back on. Royal has tied the game as he makes his second. Both teams in the single bonus. Possession arrow with TCU as the Frogs bring it up, and it is Harding handling the ball on the March Madness logo at midcourt. Passes to his left on the wing. Pierre hands it back off. Robinson returns for Harding, pressurized by Mobley. Given up, a curl in by Pierre. Kick left corner. Robinson free to fire. An open 3, and he knocks it down for the lead with under a minute to go. Robinson cans the triple. Ohio State, do they have a response? Mobley the other direction, directs it right. Thornton a jab step, off the wing, gets to the baseline, swirls it back outside. Mobley, will he try to free himself to tie it with a 3? He's at the top of the arc, he steps back to the logo, doesn't shoot, back to Thornton, he will shoot for the tie! And he bangs it in! Thornton answers in a huge way. Half a minute to go. Shot clock and game clock separated by 3 seconds and change. Timeout is taken by TCU. The game is tied with 26 seconds left. Huge corner pocket hit from Robinson, and an even bigger answer at the other end from Thornton, the Buckeye legend. We're tied at 64. And TCU can take it just about down to the end of regulation. Let's quickly in the next few seconds, go to Seth. Let's update the next 2 games, the other 2 games, I should say.
Other 3, actually.
Oh, very
Nebraska
good.
looks like he's going to get that first tournament victory. They're up 70-40 with 6:36 to go. 26 seconds left to go in the first half at Buffalo. 35-27 the lead for Louisville, and 4:22 to play in the first half at Portland. 37-33 Wisconsin on top of High Point. As I take it, by the way, John Blackwell already has 18 points for the Badgers. Back to you, Matthew, for what's going to be a barnstormer.
Again, a 4-second difference between the clocks. So TCU can just about take it all the way down. Tied at 64. Winner moves on to a second-round game here on Saturday afternoon against either Duke or Siena. That game coming up next, the 1:16 here in the East. Both teams are over the limit. If the possession arrow comes into play, TCU has it. They are out of timeouts, as you see. Ohio State has one. Who are they going to go to? Their best player punch or an outside shooter to try to get free on the perimeter, like an Edmonds, like a Harding. It'll be Pierre who will inbound it near side front court. Out for the ball is Harding. He gets it to him, and here we go. Clock winding inside 25 seconds. Harding holds the ball by his left waist with 15 on the timer. From the left of the March Madness logo, he begins to move to his right. Out for a screen comes Edmonds. Harding spins to his right. Harding on the attack, swings it cross court. Punch a jab step. Punch gets free. On the left elbow, doesn't shoot. Bounce pass inside. Edmonds turning in tight. Scores! With 4 seconds left, right as the shot clock was running down all the way to 0. The official stopped play. Timeout is taken by Ohio State. They might want to look and see if he got the shot off in time. It looked like live that he just did. TCU with the lead, and yes, he got it off with a second to spare. Edmonds in deep puts TCU in front. 4 seconds to go. Xavier Edmonds puts TCU on top, but they have to survive the next 4 1/10 seconds here. For an Ohio State team that could get it into any number of people's hands for a tying or even winning shot. But they've got to go length of the floor in what is now 4.3. They did go to check the clock. One, to make sure that he got it off before the shot clock wound down, and he did. And to check if any more time should be added on. They did add a couple of tenths. We're at 4.3. And Ohio State will have one possession to save their season. Got to go length of the floor in 4.3. They've got good three-point shooters. Thornton just hit one of their last possession to tie it. Mobley, top of the Big Ten in three-point shooting percentage at 42%. And it will be Thornton who will come back to inbound it. And with only 4 seconds left, hard to believe that Thornton would get it back after inbounding it. But we'll see what Jake Diebler has drawn up. 2 Buckeyes in the backcourt, 3 Horned Frogs in the backcourt, but no one is guarding the inbounder Thornton, who gets it into Tilly. He does shovel it back to Thornton. Speed dribble left side of the floor. At midcourt with a second to go. He launches it up. It's off the glass and no good. And TCU has survived. TCU wins it. By the skin of their teeth, they survive, seeing a 15-point halftime lead disappear. And TCU is moving on in the NCAA tournament. Their 9th win in their last 11 games. And Thornton did get it back and got off as good of a look from midcourt as you could want in that situation and was unable to bank it home. And TCU, after leading by 15 at halftime but facing a 5-point second-half deficit, comes back to win it, and the Horned Frogs out of the Big 12 will play here on Saturday against either Duke or Siena. They Ohio State outscored TCU in the second half 40-27, but it's TCU that holds on for the victory. Xavier Edmonds, the hero. And for Bruce Thornton, what a career at Ohio State. And the season for the Buckeyes comes to a close here. Final score 66-64. TCU knocks off Ohio State. As Seth told you a moment ago, Nebraska is in cruise control against Troy. Louisville leads South Florida at halftime by 10. Wisconsin with a tenuous 4-point lead late first half on High Point. As those games continue, we will sign off from here. We will be back with you on this channel in about, give or take, half an hour to get ready for Duke and Siena. But for everyone here, for Seth, for JT, Matthew here signing off for now. TCU knocks out Ohio State What a thriller to start the day. The madness is just beginning.